Hello everyone. I'm working on a Mercedes Benz. It's a Vito, and as you can see we have snow here. It's beginning to melt. So I have a problem here, an engine issue that I would want to tackle and then maybe share with you how I tackled it. Right, so here we go. I've got the engine running, got the diagnostic machine connected. I tried, one of my pins was bent and I couldn't communicate with it. I was wondering what was going on until caught on to what was the trouble. So we have here a P13E7FD AdBlue tank filling level low. Okay, those are the first things that you want just to correct first. Particulate filter soot content signal implausible. So that's a sensor there that I would want to check and see. That's a P246364. And then we have got a P0546. Don't worry about the zeros at the end. It's still the same thing. So that's the exhaust gas temperature, bank 1, temperature short 2 plus. So which means to me, when I'm looking at that code, I haven't even touched it. This is a temperature sensor, mind you. This is an NTC. So if it stays high, if we were to check its voltage, I can assure you that it's at 5 volts. So it's saying that it's shorted to voltage. There's a chance I could be wrong, but there's a chance of an open circuit, because when these temperature sensors open, they go high. They will always record a high signal. So I'm going to investigate that. But I'm trying to, why am I saying these things? Always try to understand these codes right from the onset like this. Learn to understand them. It helps a lot. So that's where we are. That's what I'll be doing. So in order to reach the temperature sensor, we'll have to get the airbox out, all these pipes out. So it's out, and then here we have to loosen, take this clamp as well. Right, yeah, this can be a nuisance. Okay. Right. So we lift this. Oh well, that has got to come off. This oil filler here, we need to just hang it somewhere, and then we need to take this rubber. Okay. And then we want to take this pipe out. Okay, and then now we should be able to lift the box out. Right. To be honest with you, I'll have to take this whole pipe. So I'll go down. On the table side, that's the, and pull, loosen that clamp. Let me just see if that should be enough. Check it from here as well. I make sure you disconnect it from there. Oh dear. So, pipe out, and then So this pipe, you may need to lubricate it a little bit whenever you put it back, because it may cause you problems. Right, so what we want is this temperature sensor here. They said it's bank 1, so that's the one we want to test, this one, but the connector is at the back, so I'll need to engine cover has got to come off, and so right, where is this connector? Oh yeah, there it is. It's not too bad. That's the one in here with a gray and white wire. See that wire goes in there, and that's it there. And then let me pull it out from the clip. So yeah, so that's the one with the gray, and let me see if I can get it out. I just need to disconnect it, but now I'll check for resistance, of course, but I want to test the other connector from the ECU with the ignition key on. So let me prepare that, and then I'll come back to you. And this is the sensor. Sorry, I brought the light here just to shine the light so that you can see. There are two of them. There's another one. Okay, and then it's the top one that you want. So as I said, let me just disconnect it from there and then come to you, because we want to test for voltage with the ignition key on. Thank you. Right, I've just gone to the wiring diagram, and I realized that this particular vehicle, it has got 4 lambdas. It has got 4 exhaust gas temperature sensors. So this one that I was calling the first one, it is actually not the first one. This is the second one. I'll tell you actually how to determine that. I went on to the diagnostic machine and disconnected it from there, and then it told me this is the second one, because I had realized that I'm on the wrong one. Actually, I was missing the first one is here. So you can see the cabling, it goes under, okay? But I think that's it here. So the wiring is the one here that comes from the main loom. So it appears that's it here. I will need to check and verify that. One thing that that really surprised me, it seems number one has got 3 wires. It has got a 5-volt reference, it has got a ground, and it has got a signal. I'm not familiar with that. I'm just used to see a temperature sensor with 2 wires. But in this case, I just want to see if there are 3 wires in there. I am not sure, but it may be the case. So I will show you. Let me start tearing down so that I can get in and see how I can test that sensor, because that's our number one, as I've shown you the sensor itself on the exhaust manifold. Now I have disconnected sensor number 1. Okay, so this plug here, you can see a gray and a white, and this side here you can see, well, sorry, my colors are sort of hidden in there. I'll show them to you later on, but I this is the ECU side, okay? And I was wondering if this was going to be a 3-pin sensor. As you can see, it's only a 2-pin sensor, as I know, and as I've been teaching you, right? I'm not saying there will never be a 3-pin. They can be, but the majority of the NTC sensors, they are the 2-wire sensors, right? So what I've done, I've disconnected this sensor, okay, just to prove that this is our number one. And I'll take you to the scan tool so that you can see what's happening there. You can see that my ignition is on, okay? My ignition is on, and now here's our scan tool. Oh, let me take away the glare. Can I? Maybe not. Let's see, bear with me. Oh, the computer just went out. What a coincidence. There you go. I'll take away the glare. Right, here we go. Brilliant. I think everyone can see. So we still have our 2 cords, even though I have disconnected the sensor. So that shows me that P0546 is indeed for bank 1 sensor 1. Whether I disconnect that sensor, it's making no difference. Remember, I told you that there must be an open somewhere, because I know that whenever they open, they stay high. That's why it's thinking. So the computer is confused. It's thinking that this sensor is shorted to plus. Okay, this is a 5-volt sensor. So I just want to show you where you start with your diagnosis in order for you to determine between the wiring, the ECU itself, the drivers in the ECU, and also the sensor itself. We want now to see if we can call out something here and say that's the one that's faulty. Okay, I'll leave the ignition key on, I'll leave my scan tool on, and I'll tackle the particulate filter, the P246364, later on. But somehow I'm thinking that if I can solve this P0546, I may solve both. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me verbatim on that one. But let's see, Shirley. Here's what I've done. These are the 2 plugs, right? This is the ECU side. The reason why I'm starting with the ECU side, I want to see if the ECU is supplying power. Okay, so if I go to this pin here like that, and then I pick a ground, which is I'll use this one here. Look at my scan and look at my multimeter. I've got 5 volts. So this is our power. Okay, so now I have ascertained using my meter that the power, the ECU driver is supplying 5 volts. So we have no issue from ECU on the power side. So remember, the ground wire runs to the ECU as well. So let's now try and see the integrity of these 2 wires. Okay, so here we go. So we are taking ground from the ECU, power from the ECU. Let's see if we are going to get bingo, 5 volts. So now I can that's just a glitch there. My pins moved. So now I can move away from this point. Now I'm going to this point. So what I'm thinking now is my sensor is the one that has got a fault. This is the sensor side. This is the EU side. I am done. I don't know about you, but I'm done. I'm happy. I can call out this sensor right away now without any fear. I'm not going to be fitting parts just. I know that I'll be calling for a part that is faulty. So in order for me to be sure, I've gone on the sensor side and put my 2 pins, and then I'm now checking resistance on this sensor. At the moment, I don't know what the resistance is going to be. I'm going to try and find out, from the from the wiring diagram, from the manual. So here is what I'm getting. Not that. I'm getting 114,000 ohms because it says kilo ohms. You see there? Let me see. Can I make it? Bring the light on. Yep. See that? It's saying 114 point something kilo ohms. So that's 1,000 ohms. I'm not sure. Let me do my research. I'll go to the manual and see, but I think this could be where my problem is. If this doesn't work, if I can't find anything, I'll go to another sensor and then check its resistance. There are 4 sensors, by the way. So I'll go to another exhaust sensor and check its resistance and compare the two. I think that would be the quickest. I'll do that before I even go far. So I decided to come to another sensor. So I've come here to sensor number 2, and I've disconnected sensor number 2. As you can see, it is disconnected there. Here is the side that goes to the sensor. So I am checking resistance. Remember, we got 114,000 ohms on the other one. See what we get here. We're getting 0.2 kilo ohms. Do you see that? So I don't even need to go to a manual now. I have verified that my sensor number 1 has got high resistance. Hence, that's why we are getting that code. The voltage is staying high because there's high resistance. All right. Remember, when there's high resistance in an NTC sensor, the voltage is also high. All right, because it's not dropping, since there's very little that is trickling to the ground side. So I'm happy this sensor here is coming out. I'm going to ring Mercedes Benz and see if they have this sensor. Then I can go and buy one and change it, and hopefully I'll be able to show you. If not, I'll just show you this video here as to how to test, depending on when I'm going to get that sensor delivered. But this is how you do your diagnosis, and I think you will find this logical and as well something that you'll be happy to practice to do yourself when you come across issues with these sensors. So let me take you back again to the diagnostic machine. So in this case, P0546 exhaust gas temperature sensor bank 1, sensor 1, temperature short to plus, means that there is high resistance. Remember, I had suggested there's an open. That can happen when there's an open, because when there's an open, it can stay high too, but it does the same when there's high resistance. Because when there's an open, it's infinite resistance. In this case, we have 114,000 ohms instead of just 203 or 204 volts. Ohms. So there you go. I hope you'll be happy to follow this diagnosis, and maybe someone is going to find it useful in the near future. I thank you. Right from my diagnosis, I've decided to go and buy a new sensor. Here is the old one. You remember, this is the one with high resistance. This is the new one. It's still in the packet, and if I'm not wrong, that's the receipt. As you can see, that's the receipt, 131 pounds. So that's the genuine article. As you can see, it's still covered in there. So we want to compare the resistance of this one to the resistance of that one. Then, only then should we be able to say we have done a good job, okay? If the resistance, if this one is lower resistance than that, then we know that we're good. Remember, 140, was it 144 kilo ohms, which is 144,000 ohms. And the other one that I checked against was just 0.2 kilo ohms, which is 200 and something ohms. So let's see. This is the new sensor. So I'm going to back probe. So I've set my scale to resistance. And here we go. This is the moment of truth, isn't it? This is when your heart starts to pounce because you have recommended someone to buy a part saying the other one was wrong. So let's prove this and see if we were right. You tell me from your side if this is correct diagnosis. Here we go. Watch that meter for me, please. I don't have good connection. There is my connection. There is our reading, 0.212. Okay, so this is exactly like the other one that I used to check against this one. So that's the new one, 200 ohms. Okay, let me go to the old one. So this is the old one. Don't worry about the spanner. I had to push it through this head, you know, to use the ring side because, you know, the corners were, you know, the open side, look what it was doing. So I had to push it through in order to use, just for me to be able to use the ring side because, you know, it's going nowhere. All right. Only then I managed to get it out. So I'll do the same, take it out and back probe again on the old sensor. So now we can, just to remind those, maybe, let me see. Here we go. Look at that. 138, slightly come down from what it was yesterday. Maybe it's just poor contact. 138,000 ohms vis-a-vis 212 ohms. So we can say this was a good judgment. We can actually say this was good diagnosis. So let's carry on. We want to finish this job. Remember, there are two cords there, and I left the other cord just to see what would happen if I fix this one. Because usually with cords, you have got the causal and then the other one is just the effect. So I was thinking that for the plausibility of the DPF sensor, which is the pressure sensor, I was thinking that this could be the cause. So let me fit this one, run the engine, and then see if we get rid of the other cord. So if that happens, it's good for us. See, there's 140 there. Okay. Right, you forgive me here because lighting is not the best. So there's a glare here. But what I'm doing here, I'm going through, I've fitted the sensor already. So now I'm going through the diagnostic machine to see if we still have the cords. Well, you'll forgive me. Remember, oh, that actually reminds me, that exhaust temperature too there, it needs connected. I haven't connected it, so I'll go and connect it. So I've got exhaust gas temperature sensor 2 connected. I just used it, to prove that the resistance was too high. So our main codes were P054600. Remember, that's the bank 1 sensor 1 temperature sensor. We have that are restored already. Okay, and the other problem was particulate filter soot content. These are the two. The other ones came because I disconnected other things. So what we want to do, this is the moment of truth. We want to cancel, we want now to delete these codes and then see if we have fixed this problem, or maybe that particulate filter one is gonna stay around. I don't know, but I'll try and delete this. So there is a code that is not deleted. As you can see, one is not deleted. So I'll return, let's see which one it is. Go back. Yes. So we have fixed the temperature sensor, but the particulate filter content signal implausible stays on. So what I'll do is I'll try and run the engine with the new sensor before I do anything to this, and see if it's gonna go away. If not, then I'll go and test the sensor for you guys, so that you can see until we have this sorted. But we have eliminated one fault already. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Just to show you another signal here, that the first problem, or maybe both, we no longer have an engine management light. This is now with the engine running. As you can hear, I can rev here. You can watch my rev counter. Okay, we don't have any engine management light. So I just want to drive it so that we can relearn this new sensor. I'll check if there's an option to relearn it with the computer. I can do that now, so that everyone can see. But if not, I'll just drive it and take it on the motorway and see if it's gonna relearn quickly, because I want to believe the other code should go. If it doesn't, then I'll tackle it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again. I've just taken the vehicle for a road test drive, and so I'm now going to check my engine, and as you can see, I have no issues. Maybe let me go to the overview. I apologize for the screen, because where I am right now, there's too much sunlight coming through, but I'll just do an overview scan. As you can see, oh, that's bad. It's really, really, really bad. But I'm doing an overview scan here, right? So there you go. There's the engine control. That's the engine control. Let's follow it. We have 0. So as I had said to you, that those codes were sort of like related. One was just the effect of the other. So we fixed one problem, and it took away I took away the other one. So I can go in just for you to see. I can go in there, and then we go to error, and then we have 0. Is that not a good fix? Okay, we have 0 errors. No, I'll run the engine here. Let me just pass the computer to the young man here who's assisting me, and then I'll run the engine just to show you we have no engine management light. That's the engine running. No engine management light. So let me recap here. As technicians, this is something that you really want to learn. It's a skill that you want to learn, that whenever you've got a bunch of trouble codes, try and identify which ones are causing the problem and which one are just effects. So if you've got the causals and the effects, you will be, sometimes you go to try and fix the effects, you are going to be just going round and round and round and round. So I think from the start, I just told you whenever we started to say, look, this bank 1 temperature sensor, exhaust temperature sensor, is the one that is causing problems. And for sure, that's the one that was causing us problems. We have this car fixed. This is a 2018 Mercedes Benz. It's a Vito, and it's still newish. I'm happy that I really could see this right from the start, and my diagnosis was correct. So the only part that I fitted here was the exhaust temperature sensor number 1. Remember, I told you there are 4, so I fitted number 1, and here we are. We are sitting with no engine management light, no error codes. Thank you very much. Please consider to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so that you don't miss any content from us. We try to bring you content from the latest vehicles here in the UK, so that at least you are you're up to date with technology. Thank you very much, and God bless.